Hello, everyone. Welcome back. How are you all? Hi. Welcome. Hi, Hasik bhai. How are you? It is a beautiful name. Thank you so much for joining. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to e-signatures. How are you all? Hi. Oh, hello, BMW guy. Welcome back. So let's write your name. It is a beautiful name. Hi, dear Nadale. How are you? What is a good name, dear? Welcome. Hello, everyone. Hi, Safa. How are you? It is a beautiful name. Thank you so much for joining. I am good too. Thank you so much for asking. Hello, guys. It is raining outside, and the fragrance of the mud is like heaven. Welcome. Hi, dear Latu. Here is your good name. Thank you so much for joining. Hi, Ronaldo or Messi? Subscribe. Ronaldo. Welcome. Let's see who is next. BMW always. Hi, dear Maya. Here is your good name. I am doing good. How about you, Mazambai? Welcome back. Here is yours. Hi, dear Vega. Here is a good name. Uzbekistan, of course. You are literally, really, you are great. Greatest of all time. Hello, dear. How are you? Let me write Lela. Cherry. Hi, dear Cherry. Here is your beautiful name. Oh, wow. Green sounds so black or pink? Black always. I don't like the pink color. Hi, dear Sai. Here is your good name. Thank you so much for joining. And comment your name. Let's see who is next. Roblox. Hello, dear Janet. Here is your good name. Black. Hi, dear Lisa. Here is yours. Hi, dear Norris. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Bikash. Here is yours. Hello, dear Safia. Here is your beautiful name. Yeah, Mozambique, I agree with you. Hi, dear Mons. Here is yours. Hello, dear Myla. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Gia. Here is yours. Hello, dear Peter. How are you? Here is your good name. Let's see who is next. Hi, dear Ines. Here is your good name. Like or dislike? What is the meaning of dislike? Hi, dear Ashish. Here is yours. Hi, dear Shun. Here is your beautiful name. Hello, dear Jack. Here is yours. Hi, dear Norris. Norris. Here is a good name. Hi, dear Hannah. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Fiona. Here is yours. Hello, dear Nazia. It is a beautiful name. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. Hello, dear Jackson. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Nehal. Here is yours. Hello, dear Simran. Here is your good name. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hi, dear Usman. Here is yours. Hello, dear Simran. Here is your good name. Okay, take care, Muslim Paris. Thank you so much for joining. Hi, dear Nadim. Here is yours. Hello, dear Manish. Here is your good name. Hello, dear Lucky. Hello, here is yours. Oh, dear Ananya. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Erica. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining BMW guy. Take care. Hi, dear Roshni. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Kanwal. Here is yours. Hi, dear Alice. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Hattie. Here is yours. Hello, dear Baloo. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Leah. Here is yours. Double tap on your screens. Hello, dear Hirsch. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Nikit. Here is yours. Hi, welcome. Hello, dear Hazel. Here is your. What a unique name you have, dear Hazel. Hi, dear Faridi. Here is yours. Hello, dear Rainy. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Pooja. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining. Hello, dear Louisa. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Kumari. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining, dear Kumari. Hi, dear Kabir. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Anya. Here is yours. Hello, dear Nines. What? Nines or Nima? Hello, dear Nima. Here is yours. Hi, dear Isabella. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Sahid. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining. You're most welcome, dear. Hello, dear Email. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Tyler. Here is yours. Hello, dear Candace. Here is a good name. Hi, dear Valentina. Here is yours. Let's see who is next. Hi, dear Jaspreet. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Gopi. Here is yours. Hello, dear Abdullah. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Razel. Here is yours. Hello, dear Mirab. Guys, double tap on your screens. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Dina. Here is yours. Hi, dear Radit. Here is your good name. Hi, dear B. Roach. Here is yours. What a unique name you have. Hi, dear Karima. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Ada. Here is yours. Hi, dear Damian. No, Damian. Hi, dear Damian. Here is your unique name. Hi, dear Mahad. Here is yours. Thank you so much for subscribing. What is your good name? Hello, dear Noor. Here is yours. Double tap on your screens and don't forget to press the subscribe button there. Hi, dear Sayer. Here is yours. Hello, dear Honey. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Fatima. Here is yours. Hello, dear Muniba. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Krish. Here is yours. Hello, dear Nina. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Misty. Here is yours. Hello, dear Jenny. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Chanel. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining. Here is your beautiful name. Let's see who is next. Hi, dear Shima. Here is your beautiful name. Hello, dear. Oh my god. Livka. Here is yours. Hi, dear. Oh my god. Catty. It is a good name. Hi, dear Darla. Darla, not Parla. Darla. It is a good name. Hello, dear Sadia. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining. And don't forget to double tap on your screens. Hi, dear Johns. Here is yours. Hello, dear Leah. Here is your good name. Why Neptune? Hi, dear Zenith. Here is yours. Hello, dear Anshika. Nay, Anishka. Anishka. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Raina. Here is your sparrow. How come? Hello, dear Aileen. Here is yours. No, sparrow. What's a good name? This is not your name, right? You want me to block you, right? Hi, dear Sugat. Hi, dear Rabbit. Here is yours. Hello, dear Rania. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Purvi. Here is yours. And let's see who is next. Millie. Hi, dear Millie. Here is yours. Hello, dear Sparrow. No, your name is Sparrow. Ouch, Sparrow. Hello, dear Darina. Here is yours. And let's see who is next. Sophie. Hi, dear Sophie. Here is yours. Tanya wants a screenshot. Hi, dear Tanya. Here is a good name. Double tap on your screens and don't forget to press the subscribe button there. Okay, Tanya. Here is yours. And come on, take it. Take the screenshot. Hurry up, dear. Hi, dear Ada. How are you? Here is a good name. Hi, dear Hamza. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining. And let's see who is next. Hi, dear Haram. Here is a good name. Hi, dear Sam. Here is yours. Hello, dear Kathy. Let me rewrite. Katiee. Here is your double tap on your screens. Hi, dear Alia. Here is your beautiful name. Let's see who is next. Hi, dear Alok. Here is yours. Hi, dear Anna. Here is your good name. Hello, dear Minu. Here is yours. Hi, dear Hania. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Radit. Here is yours. Hi, dear Saida. Here is a beautiful name. Thank you so much for joining. Here is a good name. And don't forget to double tap on your screen, guys. Come on. Hi, dear Sammy. Here is yours. Hello, dear Hira. It is a good name. Hi, dear Melissa. Here is yours. Hi, dear Nafa. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Shreya. Here is yours. Hi, dear Krishna. Here is your beautiful name. Hello, dear Aman or Ayman? Arman, here is yours. Thank you so much for joining. And let's see who is next. Atis. Hi, dear Atis. Here is yours. Hello, dear Mahanur. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Arya. Here is yours. Hello, dear Kisa. Here is your beautiful name. Hello, dear Surya. Here is yours. And we are stuck on 27. Double tap on your screens. Come on. Hi, dear Ellie. Here is yours. Hi, dear Otkirback. Otkirback. Here is yours. Hi, dear Jory. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Ishal, here is yours. Hello, dear Nushat. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Sky. Here is yours. Hi, dear Faria. Here is your beautiful name. Hello, dear Johan. Here is yours. Hi, dear Fallon. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Renad. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining. Oh, why are you so sad, dear Camilla? Let's see who is next. Hi, dear Samira. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Pawan. How are you? Here is yours. Hi, dear Suchona. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Khalia. Here is yours. Hello, dear Anna. Anna Julia, welcome back. How are you? It is a good name. Hi, dear Bilal. Here is yours. Hi, dear Lena. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Vansh. Here is yours. Hello, dear Diana. Here is your beautiful name. And let's see who is next. Double tap on your screens. Yeah. Hi, dear Yaya. Here is yours. Hi, dear Joe. Here is yours. You're most welcome, dear. Lots of love. Hi, dear Angie. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Samad. Here is yours. Hi, dear Pavitra. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Samad. Samad is here. Let's see who is next. Please, me. What is your good name? Hi, dear Fanny. Here is yours. Hirel. Hi, dear Hirel. Here is yours. Hi, dear Ocean. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Simbu or Shibu? Shibu. Here is yours. April. Hi, dear April. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Melissa. Here is yours, Natalia. And okay, let me write for you, dear Natalia. Natalia, and what was the second one? Alsbecta. Here is yours. Let's add the question. What comes after 7? Don't forget to like and subscribe. Okay. Let's see who is next. Hi, dear Kunal. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Gibran. Here is yours. Hello, dear Akas. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Ume. Here is yours. Hello, dear Pari. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Narjida. Here is Narjida. Is yours. Thank you so much. Hi, dear Ananya. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Moomin. Here is yours. Hi, Hashim. Welcome back. How are you? Here is your beautiful name. Thank you so much for joining again. And thank you for remembering me. Hi, dear Keela. Here is your good name. Hi, I am Rosia. Hello, dear Rosia. Here is your beautiful name. Thank you so much for joining. Hello, dear Sar. Here is yours. Hi, dear channel. Here is your good name. Let's see who is next. Usman. Hi, dear Usman. Thank you so much for subscribing. And happy birthday. Here is a good name. Hi, dear Aminata. Here is yours. Hi, dear Livia. Here is your beautiful name. Hello, dear Mariam. Thank you so much for subscribing, dear Mariam. Here is yours. For you, dear. Hi, dear Evening. Here is your beautiful name. Hello, dear Osilbeck. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining. Hi, dear Ella. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Taonga. Taonga. Oh, okay. Good to hear. Hi, dear Saran. Here is your beautiful name. Hey, yeah, you are right. Hi, dear Rizwan. Here is yours. Hello, dear Sadia. Here is your beautiful name. Let's see who is next. Hi, dear Abinash. Here is yours. Hello, dear Sarah. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Emilia. Here is yours. Hi, dear Shazam. Here is your good name. Hello, dear Amina. Here is yours. Hello, dear Sanskriti. Here, Kriti. Here is your beautiful name. Ming Young. Hello, dear Ming Young. Here is yours. Hi, dear Adi. Here is your beautiful name. Double tap on your screens. Oh God, why the Nightboard is giving the timeout? Let me check. Nightboard, Nightboard, Nightboard. What are you doing, dear Nightboard? Guys, double tap on your screens and don't forget to press the subscribe button. Hi, dear Edola. What a unique name you have. Here is yours. Hello, dear Zubair. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Sarah. Here is yours. Hello, dear Emily. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Iswani, here is yours. Hello, dear Minha. Here is a good name. Hi, dear Inaya. Here is yours. Hello, dear Hadia. Here is a good name. Hi, dear Minu. Here is yours. Hello, dear Amin. Here is a good name. Hi, dear Vanua. Here is yours. Hi, dear Vivian. Vivian or Vivan? Vivan. Hello, dear V1. Here is your beautiful name. Hello, dear Kiara. Here is yours. Hi, dear Jane. Here is a good name. Hi, dear Lena. Here is yours. Hi, dear Siam. Here is a beautiful name. Hi, dear Mariam. Here is yours. Hi, dear Varshu. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Rehab. Here is yours. Double tap on your screens and don't forget to press the subscribe button. Hello, dear Shivani. It is a good name. Hi, dear Tim. Here is yours. Oh, walaikum assalam. Subka ji, yeah. Yes, yo, what है क्यों क्या हो गया? How are you? Hi, dear Aksa. Here is a good name. Hello, dear Amal. Here is yours. You're most welcome. Let's see who is next. Hi, dear U1. Here is a good name. Hi, dear Anju. Here is yours. Okay, let's see who is next. Salva. Hi, dear Salva. Here is yours. Hi, dear Jiso. Hi, dear Blink. Here is yours. हाँ नहीं पहले वाला नहीं हुआ मुझे शो. Hi, dear Rudra. Here is yours. Hello, dear Enver. Here is your good name. Double tap on your screen. Come on. Welcome back, Hazik Bhai. How are you? Hi, dear Ryan. Here is your good name. Okay, Blackpink एक साथ ही लिख देते हैं हम. For you, dear Blink. Guys, double tap on your screens. Hi, Tanmay. How are you? And don't forget to press the subscribe button there. Tanmay. Hello, dear Tanmay. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Anna. Here is yours. Hello, dear Saren. Here is your Saren. Good name. Bygone. Is this your name? Anyways, here is a good name. Okay, let's see who is next. Hi, dear Andy. Here is a good name. Who is saying Shalal? Here is yours. Hi, dear Joe. Here is yours. Let's see who is next. Hi, next. Next. Hello, dear Akron. Here is yours. Hi, dear Job. Here is your good name. Double tap on your screens. Hi, Reham. Here is a good name. Oh, 2 minutes is too long. Minha. Minha was done before, I think. Okay, here is yours. And if you want a screenshot of your name, go for it. And you can take it now or you can watch my live later too. Your name is done at 30 minutes of the live, guys. Double tap on your screens. Come on. We have to complete 6, 7 at least. Hasib bhai, welcome back. 2 minutes is too long. Okay. Hi, dear Rose. Here is Ryan. Hi, dear Darcy. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Roshni. Here is yours. Muslim bhai, you were there. Hi, dear Sky. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Arzu. Here is yours. Hello, dear Muhammad. Here is your good name. And thank you so much for joining. And let's see who is next. Hamid. Hi, dear Hamid. Here is your good name. And stream is lagging. Congratulations to me. Hi, dear Ruba. Here is a good name. You're most welcome, Jackson. Hi, dear Jackson. Here is yours. Hi, dear Alreen. Here is your beautiful name. Hello, dear Aleph. Here is yours. Hi, dear Min Ji Young. Here is yours. No lagging. Hi, dear Cassie. Here is a good name. Hello, dear Jeremy. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. Double tap on your screens. Oh, you're most welcome, dear. Lots of love. Hi, dear Manley. It is a good name. Hi, dear Mabushi. Here is yours. Hi, dear Ayan. Ayan with double Y. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining. Hi, dear Kaiser. Here is yours. Hello, dear Fanny. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Aisha. Here is yours. I don't understand कि इधर से इधर को क्यों आ रहे हैं मेरे नेम सीधे क्यों नहीं लिख रही मैं कोई बात नहीं आते आते नीचे आ जाते हैं इधर को Hi, dear Ryan. Here is a good name. Let's see who is next. Hi, dear Azra. Here is yours. Hi, dear Juhi. Here is your beautiful name. Oh, yes, yes. कहाँ हुआ? Hi. उधर है दूसरे रूम में. Hi, dear Ryan. Here is yours. साजिदा जी काफ़ी सुना सुना नाम है आपका. Hello, dear Kripa. Here is yours. 6 camera angle पहले वाला मस्त था चैट करते वक्त नेम दिख जाते थे कैसे दिखते थे भाई ऐसे सीधे दिखते हैं पहले मैंने पूरा देखा है अच्छे से अब भी दिखते हैं लैग करिए ना हाँ मुझे पता था होना ही है लैग के बगैर नहीं चलना इसमें कोई बात नहीं ठीक हो गई है अब ठीक से नाम नजर आता वरना चैट नजर आती थी पहले इसलिए थोड़ा सा चेंज किया है मैंने और मेरी वॉइस भी काफ़ी स्लो आ रही थी Okay, let's move to the next name. Hi, dear Riza. Here is your good name. Double tap on your screens and don't forget to press the subscribe button. Hi, dear Riza. हो गया था मैंने फिर से लिख दिया राइजा जी आपका नाम पता नहीं मेरी आँखों को क्या हो गया है भाई हेलो डियर लूना और लीना एक मिनट, ब्राइटनेस तेज करके देखते हैं। हाँ, अब दिख रहा है। Hi dear Inaya, here is your good name. Hi dear Beryl, here is yours. Hello dear Anas, here is your good name. Hi dear Oslam. Hi dear Oslam, here is yours. Hi dear Trishita. Here is yours. Hello dear Tasmia, here is. Hi dear Gagan, here is yours. Hello dear alien, it is a good name. Hi dear Radhe, here is yours. Hello dear Kanika, here is your beautiful name. Hi dear Sujan, here is yours. Thank you so much for joining everyone. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's see who is next. Hi dear Tara, what a unique name you have. Here is yours. Hello dear Catherine, here is your beautiful name. Here is yours. Hi dear Hannah, here is your beautiful name. Hello dear Yasser. I have to drink some water. Just give me 1 minute. Ram Raj Singh. Hello. Hi. तुम्ही हमारी लाइव रोज देखा तो बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया आपका. Hey dear Andy, here is your good name. Hi dear Jihan, here is yours. Hi dear Noor, here is a good name. Hi dear Ella, here is yours. Hi dear Abrar, here is your beautiful name. Hi dear Gulshan, here is yours. Hi dear Mubina, here is a good name. Hello dear Ivana, here is yours. Cover, yeah, your name is on thumbnail for this live. Hi dear Maftuna, here is your beautiful name. Hi dear Adja, here is yours. Hello dear Sajan, here is your good name. Hi dear Lola, here is yours. Hello dear, yeah, it's raining outside. How are you? Hi dear Sahla, here is your good name. Hi dear Anjan, here is yours. Hello dear Sigma, extra, here is yours. Thank you so much for joining. It is a good name. Welcome back dear Isabel. How are you doing today? And let's move to the next name. Hi dear Imani, here is your good name. Hi dear Barira, here is yours. It is yours, dear Gully. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hi dear Yusuf, here is your beautiful name. Hi dear Kamola, here is yours. I don't have a face. Hi dear Neha, here is yours. I have a bucket instead of my face. Hi Sarah, it is a good name. And the network is not networking. Hi dear Deepthi, here is yours. Hi dear Neenat, good name. Hi, dear Iman. Here is yours. Hello, dear Saf. Here is a good name. Hi, dear Eben. Here is yours. Thank you so much for happy birthday. Hi, dear Iki. Here is yours. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hello, dear Tarsus. Here is your beautiful name. My name is Ishal. Hi, dear Tuba. Here is yours. Hi, dear Adrian. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Elisa. Elisa, here is your with double S. Hello, dear Ella. Here is yours. Hi, dear Mehriban. Here is your good name. Mehriban, where are you from, dear? Are you from Turkey? Hi, dear Asabir. Here is yours. Hello, dear Jasper. Here is your good name. Hi, welcome. What's your good name, dear sister? Hyseung. Here is yours. My name is Novita. Hello, Uzbekistan. A lot of love. Many of my audience belongs to Uzbekistan, and I literally love you guys. And I forgot the name for Novita. Hello, dear Novita. Here is a good name. You are from Turkey, Jasper? Hello, dear Jasper. Here is yours. Merhaba, nasılsın? İncelara hoş geldiniz. Hi, dear Huran. Here is yours. Teşekkür ederim. Hi, dear Olivia. Here is your beautiful name. Hello, dear Darcy. Here is yours. Hi, dear Kushani. Here is a good name. Hello, dear Ehna. Ehna with, let me check. Ehna. I am not Turkish, but I do learn some phrases in Turkish and Mexico language, also Spanish also. ¿Cómo estás? Gracias. Hi, dear Roshmika. Here is yours. Okay, Uzbekistan after this, dear. Here is a beautiful name. Let's write Uzbekistan for you. It is a beautiful name. Thank you so much for joining. My name is Ishal, dear. Hi, dear Zari. Here is a beautiful name. Don't forget to like and subscribe, guys. You are from Italy. And here is yours. Ishal, no, Ishal. Ishal, Ishal. This is the spelling. Hi, dear Vivian. I am good. How about you, dear Ayan? Here is yours. Hi, dear Kisa. Here is a good name. Hello, dear Bella. Here is yours. Hi, dear Eman. Here is your good name. Hello, dear Bia. Here is yours. Hi, dear Kiani. Kinan. Hello, dear Keenan. Here is your beautiful name. Double tap on the screen, guys. And let's see who is next. Hi, dear Jinwa. Here is your beautiful name. Okay, let me read your comment. Who is saying alien, alien, alien? Hi, dear Rebecca. Here is your good name. Kristella, I am from Italy, Albania, and Lithuania. Okay. Can you teach me some phrases like hi, how are you in Italian language? Hi, dear Kristella. Here is yours. Thank you so much. Aditya. Hello, dear Aditya. How are you? Here is yours. Abiha. Okay, dear Abiha. Here is your good name. You are from Russia. Hi, welcome. Hi, dear Aya. Here is yours. Hello, dear Sabruba. What a unique name you have, dear Sabruba. Here is yours. Hi, dear Kuarsema. Double tap on your screens and don't forget to press the subscribe button there. Daniel. Hello, dear Daniel. Here is yours. Thank you so much. Hi, dear Dina. Here is yours. Lots of love. Thank you. Khadija. You are an anime lover, right? Hi, dear Akron. Here is yours. Hello, dear Rafi. Here is your beautiful name. Kashaf. Hello, dear Kashaf. Here is yours. Sarah Khan. Hello, dear Sarah. It is a beautiful name, guys. Double tap on your screens and don't forget to press the subscribe button. Hi, dear Asil. Here is yours. Hello, dear Khaled. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Nadira. Here is yours. Hello, dear Hanya. Here is a beautiful name. Okay, let's see who is next. Hafsa. Hi, dear Hafsa. Here is a good name. Hi, dear Richa. Here is yours. You're most welcome. Hi, dear Arzu. Here is yours. Nadira. Here is your beautiful name. Hello, Cassie. Hi, dear Cassie. How are you? Here is yours. Hi, dear Aisha. It is a beautiful name. And let's see who is next. Jadil. Hello, dear Jadil. Here is a beautiful name. Who is saying 6-7? Hi, thank you. You're most welcome. Hello, dear Hadil. Here is yours. Hi, dear Macy. Here is a beautiful name. Hi, dear Mahi. Here is your guys. Double tap on your screens. We have to complete 100. And let's move to the next name, which is Shreya. Hi, dear Shreya. Here is a good name. Hello, dear Tessa. Here is yours. Hi, dear Murshid. It is a good name. Hi, dear Inaya. Here is yours. Hello, dear Yujub. Here is yours. Hi, dear Elman. Here is your beautiful name. Sujan and Abrar. Here is yours. Double tap on your screens and don't forget to press the subscribe button. Let's see who is next. Hi, dear Clara. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Ella. Here is yours. Hi, dear Yusen. Here is your good name. Hello, dear safe one. Here is yours. Is the stream is lagging? Bhuvan. Hello, dear Bhuvan. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Annie. Here is yours. Is the stream is lagging? Can anyone tell me, please? Kitty. Here is yours. Hello, dear Esma. It is a good name. Takwa. Okay, dear. Thank you so much for telling me. Here is a good name. Hi, dear Zulekha. Here is your good name. Thank you so much for joining. Hi, dear Johanna. Here is yours. Hi, dear Sakina. Here is your beautiful name. Hello, dear Inaya. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. Don't forget to press the subscribe button there. Hello, dear Dia. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Barbara. Let me rewrite the B. I am not satisfied with the B letter I have wrote before. Barbara. Now it looks so good. Hi, dear Barbara. Here is yours. Hi, dear Sri Ayu. It is a beautiful name. Hi, dear Mispa. Here is yours. Hi, dear Rohan. It is a beautiful name. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hi, dear Farzona. Here is yours. Hi, dear Hector. It is a good name. Hello, dear Zoe. Here is yours. Don't forget to like and subscribe, guys. Okay, let's see who is next. Luana. Hi, dear Luana. It is a beautiful name. Hi, dear Rahaf. Here is yours. Hello, dear Raghavi. Raghavi. Here is yours. Lots of love, dear. Thank you so much. Hello, dear Suman. Here is a beautiful name. Hi, dear Sahara. Here is yours. Hello, dear Lara. It is a beautiful name. Hi, dear Maya. Here is yours. Hi, dear Doshyant. What a unique name you have. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining. And रुक रुक के क्यों चल रही है भाई स्क्रीन. Hi, dear Raya. Here is yours. Now, dear Abigail. Here is your beautiful name. हाँ जी ज़िब्गा जी, आप आपको बुला रहे थे. हमें लगा आप यहीं पे हो, लेकिन फिर आप यहीं पे नहीं थे. Hi, dear तंजील ज़हरा. Here is yours. ज़िब्गा जी, क्या स्ट्रीम अटक-अटक के चल रही है, रुक-रुक के? क्या बीच में से कभी-कभी लैग कर रही है? Hi, dear Leandro. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Sarah. Another Sarah. Hi, here is yours. Hello, dear me too. Here is a good name. सही है. पता नहीं फिर मेरे दूसरे वाले फ़ोन पे अटक रही है ऐसे लग रहा है. Hi, dear Sophia. Here is yours. Hello, dear Amara. Here is a beautiful name. Hi, dear Dilsora. Here is yours. Guys, double tap on your screen and don't forget to press the subscribe button. Hi, dear Minju. Here is yours. Hello, dear Elena. Here's a beautiful name. Hello, dear Liuk. Here is yours. Hi, dear Jacob. Here is yours. Hi, dear Nanda. Here is yours. Thank you so much, dear. Lots of love. Here is yours. क्या क्या खबरी हमारे इधर तो बारिश लग चुकी है. यहाँ पे इतनी ज़्यादा आंधी तो नहीं आई, लेकिन बादल गरज रहे थे. उसके बाद मौसम बहुत प्यारा हो गया था, लेकिन सिर्फ 5 मिनट मुझे मिले थे सिर्फ छत पे खड़े होने के लिए, सिर्फ 5 मिनट। उसके बाद मैं नीचे आ गई थी। हाय डियर रोबिन, here is yours. Robin with Y, not Ankit. Ankit bro. Hi dear Halima, here is yours. Dear Amara. Okay, let's see who's next. And stream is lagging. No, no. Hi dear Naila, here is a beautiful name. Hello dear Greta, here is yours. क्या? Sherina. Sherina. It is a beautiful name. Hi, no, don't think like that, dear. What's a good name? वो इधर ही थे, पता नहीं शायद अभी भी देख रहे हो। इधर ही है लग रहा है। आइसक्रीम कौन सी वाली खानी है आपने बताएं? Hi dear Olga, welcome back. Maja. It is a good name. Yeah, I remember your name. What's up? Hi dear Erin, here is yours. Hello dear Leah, here is a good name. Daud. Hello dear Daud, here is yours. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hi dear Yuika, here is yours. Oh my god, thank you, but please don't spam. इतने सारे I love you लिखे हैं. Hi dear Sifu, here is a good name. Hi dear Rosanna, here is yours. Hello dear Isa, here is a beautiful name. Double tap on your screens. Mark. Hi, merhaba. İmzalara hoş geldiniz. Nasılsın? Teşekkür ederim. No, teşekkür ederim. Oh, hi dear Virgil. Welcome back. It is a beautiful name. How are you doing today? Hello dear Shivi. Here is yours. Hi sister, welcome. What's a good name? Hi dear Yuvraj. Here is yours. Hello dear Muskan. Guys, double tap on your screens. Come on. Here is yours. Hi dear Isabella. Here is a beautiful name. Hello, hi. Hello dear Brianna. Here is a beautiful name. Hi dear Carly. Here is yours. Ah, thank you. Love to hear. Hi dear Clem. Here is yours. Thank you so much, dear, for those kind words. Hi, dear Trisha. Here is yours. Hello, dear Kana. It is a beautiful name. Nosheen. Hello, dear Nosheen. Here is yours. Hello, dear Natalia. Lots of love, dear. Thank you so much. Hi, dear Aisha. Here is yours. Hello, dear Zen. It is a good name. Yeah, it. You're right. Hi, dear Hafsa. Here is yours. Abu Huraira. Abu Huraira. You know what is the meaning of Abu Huraira? Cat's father, right? I love this name. Hi, dear Eliza. Here is yours. Tennis ball. Not JT. Tennis ball. And don't forget to double tap on your screen, guys. Come on. Loud. Yeah. Oh my god. Wahi. Wahi. Why are you so angry, dear? Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining. And so sorry. Hi, dear Verda. Here is a beautiful name. Hello, dear Shella. Here is yours. Hi, dear Lavanya. This is a beautiful name. A signature, yes. Hi, dear Alpha. Here is yours. Mariam. Hello, dear Mariam. It is a beautiful name. Double tap on your screens and don't forget to press the subscribe button and stay hydrated. Let me drink some water too because I feel thirsty. Hi, James. ¿Cómo estás? James. Gracias. Hi, dear. Good evening, Yuika. Good evening, dear Yuika. It is a good name. And your comment, let me read the comment. Good evening, I am Yuika. Nice to meet you. Your voice is cute. You are the cutest, dear. Thank you so much for joining. Nice meeting you too. Good day. Hi, dear. It's Suber. Here is yours. Okay, Subhan. Hello, dear Subhan. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Zan. Here is yours. Hi, dear Kitoha. Kitoha. What a unique name you have, dear Kitoha. Here is yours. Rose and Maya. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Anubhav. Hi, dear Anubhav. Here is yours. Hello, dear Figo. It is a good name. Hey, good to hear. Hi, dear Udin. Here is yours. Kashyap. Hello, dear Kashyap. Here's a good name. Hi, dear Asaifa. Here is yours. Hello, dear Kashyap and Kashyap at the same time. Kashyap. Here is a beautiful name. Hi, dear Gia. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. Double tap on your screens and let's see who is next. Masi Ji is here, but you are not. Figo. When he is here, you were absent, and when you are here, he is absent. Hi, dear Raiden. It is a good name. Hi, dear Logan. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining, dear Logan. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And let's see who is next. Chat पता नहीं क्यों अड़ जाती है बार बार. Casio. Hello, dear Casio. Here is yours. हाँ जी आ गए हैं. Hello, dear Shehzad. Here is yours. Hi, dear Sophie. It is a good name. Uh, she is. She is back now. Hi, dear Thea. Here is yours. Hello, dear C, and here is a good name. I remember you. Hi again. Oh, hi. Welcome back. What's a good name? Thank you so much for remembering me. Hi, dear Kieran. Here is yours. Hello, dear Nida. Here is a good name. Double tap on your screen. Come on. Azel. Hello, dear Azel. Here is yours. My name is Aiden. Welcome back, dear Aiden. How are you doing today? Here is yours. ये है मुझसे क्या पता चला? Mustafa. What a beautiful name you have, dear Mustafa. Here is yours. Yeah. I am good too. Thank you so much for asking. Hi, dear Umema. Here is yours, Sarah. Hello, dear Sarah. Here is yours, Saad and Gia. Such a beautiful name. Hello, dear Afreen. Here is yours. Hello, dear अमल आपसे कम ही हूँ मुझे भाई. Hello, dear Savage. Here is your Savage. Hi, dear Arshad. Sakur. uh, Arvind. भूल जाती हूँ यार मैं. Figo. Okay, dear Figo. Here you go. You're most welcome, dear. Double tap on your screens and don't forget to press that subscribe button. Welcome back, Sanjana. Leah. Sanjana, Leah, hi. You're most welcome, dear. Thank you. Cat Rata. Why? And let's see who is next. Dordona. Hello, dear Dordona. Here is a good name. Hi, dear Lukman. You're most welcome, dear. Thank you so much. Lots of love. Here is yours. Zenel. Zenel. Z and double L E. Here is yours. Arshad. Hi, Arshad. Arshad. Here is yours. एंगर की वजह से लगता है भाई. Hi, dear Grace. It is a good name. Oh, Swapnin ji, welcome back. How are you? It is a beautiful name. Thank you so much for joining. Hi, dear Leah. Here is yours. Hello, dear Maffair. Here is a good name. Hi, dear Mediha. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining. 22 डिग्री है मतलब अब ठंड ठंडा है. मैंने नहीं देखा. मैं देखती हूँ कितना है आज. I am Japanese. I am translating. Nice to meet you. Nice meeting you too, dear. Thank you so much. Lots of love. मैंने जापानीज नहीं सीखी है. उसमें भी सीख के फिर आपको रिप्लाई पक्का करूँगी. एक मिनट में ज़रा देख लूँ डिग्री कितना है इधर. वेदर 30 है बेबी. स्टिल 30 है सुबगा जी. हमें पता नहीं कब ठंड पड़नी है भाई. जी जी आजकल महंगे हैं बड़े वो. है ना मुझे भाई. हाफिजा. Hello, dear Hafiza. Here's a good name. ओ वो अब भाई बारिश हो रही है इस वजह से नेटवर्क तो खराब होता ही है. Hello, have a nice day to you too, dear. Kate. Have a nice day to you too, dear Kate. Let me write your name. Ghaith. Here is yours. इतना तो एबटाबाद में हो तो रोस्ट हो जाऊं। ले अभी तो कम हुआ है 30 डिग्री, 35 के ऊपर ही पहुंचा हुआ था भाई। हाय डियर हिमानी, हियर इज योर्स। इस दफ़ा पता है 52 डिग्री बोला है। 52 डिग्री मैंने तो पता नहीं क्या बन गया था। हाय डियर मन्नत, हियर इज योर्स। ऊपर से मैं थर्ड पोजीशन पे बैठी हूँ भाई, यहाँ से सांप लगा लो। कितनी गर्मी है होती है इधर। Hi dear Lily, here is yours, and hello dear Zenha. Whoa, Zenha, here is your good name. वो पहले बुलाया था ना। अच्छा अच्छा, आप उनसे बात कर रहे हो। गाइस डबल टैप ऑन योर स्क्रीन। जैसे मैं कहना छोड़ती हूँ ना तो लाइक करना भी बंद कर देते हो भाई। कहीं वो गाय किया करो प्यारी ऑडियंस। मजाक करी। हाय डियर महिद्या, what a unique name you have. Here is yours, Ritika. Happy birthday, dear Ritika. And enjoy your meal. Thank you so much for joining. Hi, dear Nadine. Here is yours. The words are funny. Uh-huh. It's okay. And Suhani. Hello, dear Suhani. Here is yours, Virag. Hi, dear Virag. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Malaika. Here is yours. Hi, dear Yuan. Welcome back. Here is a good name. Hi, dear Sandeep. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining. I am here now. Oh, welcome back, अमोल भाई। जिसको भी मैं मॉडरेटर बनाती हूँ ना वो दोबारा मुड़ के आता ही नहीं है भाई। आता भी है तो बहुत देर, कभी कभी। अब सबको मॉडरेशन से हटा देना है मैंने, और खुद ही मैंने मॉडरेटर बन जाना है जैसे मैं अभी हूँ। हाय डियर मायशा, हियर इज अ गुड नेम। मैट को मैंने मॉडरेटर बनाया था, दोबारा वो सिर्फ 2 बार आया है भाई, वरना वाले रोज आता था। हेलो डियर लिबोरा, हियर इज योर्स। हाय डियर शोबित। आपको पता है अमूल भाई आज क्या हुआ है मेरे साथ सुबह सुबह वाली स्ट्रीम में? पूरा आधा घंटा मैंने ऐसे ही स्ट्रीम की है जैसे मैं अभी मतलब कर रहे हैं, रोज़ करते हैं। बाद में मुझे मुस्लिम भाई के कमेंट से पता चला कि वॉइस ही नहीं आ रही है। तो चेक करो भाई, उस वक्त मेरा ऐसा दिमाग घूम, मैंने कहा यार इतनी देर से मैं बोल बोल के और किसी ने सुना भी नहीं है कि मैंने किसका नाम बोला है किसका नहीं। फिर क्या होना था, फिर मैंने उसको फटाफट से एंड किया। फिर मैंने बोला मैं दोबारा आती हूँ, फिर मैंने दोबारा स्टार्ट किया। बताया भी नहीं मुझे किसी ने कि आपकी वॉइस नहीं आ रही। वैसे मुझे यूजुअली बता देते हैं सारे। क्या क्या ये नाम लिख लूँ फिर पढ़ती हूँ आपका, ठहरो। हम सेकेंड लाइव में ना, हाँ जी, फिर आपने देख ही लिया होगा ना बाद में। संदीप, हैप्पी बर्थडे संदीप जी। जल्दी जल्दी से डबल टैप ऑन योर स्क्रीन गाइस। यू मोस्ट वेलकम। अभी मैंने सोचा था मैं पूरा 2 घंटे की स्ट्रीम करूँगी, पूरे 2 घंटे की। हाय डियर निर्वी, हियर इज योर्स। लेकिन लाइक ही नहीं कर रहे हो, फिर मेरा कॉन्फिडेंस गिर जाता है। हाय डियर तान्या, हियर इज योर्स। लो भाई, लिख दिया है आपके लिए मैंने, पाकिस्तान। सिर्फ अगर मैं मोड होता तो सारा दिन पड़ा रहता यहाँ पे। नहीं, आजकल आप बहुत महंगे हैं, आप नहीं आ सकते इतना टाइम देने के लिए। Here is yours. Hello, dear Maya. Here is a beautiful name. Hi, dear Rishabh. Here is yours. Hello, dear Anna. Here's a good name. Hi, dear Nathan. Here is yours. Hi, dear Ram. Here is yours. Hello, dear. Who is saying excellent? Here is yours. हाँ हाँ खैर है कोई बात नहीं. It's okay. Guys, double tap on your screens. कम से कम 140 हो जाने चाहिए यार अभी तक तो. वंशिका वंशिका जी कैसी हैं आप? मुर्तजा here is yours. क्या हुआ? ईशु जी इन्हें मत देना स्पेशल सीट ब्लू वाली खुशी किसी किसी को आती. मैं किसी को भी नहीं देने वाली देखना. सवेरा सिस मासी जी को बिजी का कहा तो मजदूर बना दिया. सिस मैं कोचिंग पढ़ाना फिर से शुरू कर दिया हूँ और नहीं आ. कोई बात नहीं कोई बात नहीं है अमर भाई. इट्स ओके. हाय डियर कीटू हियर इज योर्स. और मैंने ब्राइटनेस फुल की हुई है फिर भी मुझे ना ये जितना ये पॉट पड़ा है ना इसके साथ ही यहाँ पे मैंने अपना इसके साथ ही इधर करके थोड़ा सा फ़ोन रखा है फिर भी मुझे वहाँ से कमेंट नहीं दिख रहे. मैं अंधी तो नहीं होगी. हाय डियर एली हियर इज योर्स. जिसने पहले भी ऑफर दी वो बस मैंने तब बोला था आपको क्योंकि तब कोई था नहीं यहाँ पे इसलिए सवेरा लिखना था मैंने. हाय डियर सवेरा हियर इज योर्स. मैंने कल ईशु जी को एक और भी बात बोली ना. मैंने कहा ये बेचारा बिजनेस करे ना मीन्स मॉडर्न मजदूरी है. अच्छा मैंने तो ये कमेंट ही नहीं देखा. ओ अच्छा इसलिए अब मुझे समझ में आया है कि इस वजह से मोजिम भाई मुझे एक्सप्लेन कर रहे थे कि मैंने मासी जी को ये बोला था कि हाय डियर ज़हरा हाय यू. अब मुझे समझ आया कि इसलिए आप मुझे एक्सप्लेन करके बोल रहे थे कि मैंने उनको बस ये कहा था. तो मैंने मजदूरी वाला कमेंट तो मैंने खुद से किया था. अरे यार मजदूरी वाला तो ऐसे ही मेरे दिमाग में आया था बैठे बैठे. आपने कहा ना मैं बहुत बिजी होता हूँ काम कर रहा है तो वहाँ से मेरे माइंड में आया कि कौन सी मजदूरी कर रहे हो आजकल. इसलिए मैंने वो कमेंट किया था. मैंने तो मासी जी वाला कमेंट देखा ही नहीं कि उन्होंने बिजनेस के बारे में कोई बात की है. आपको ये लगा था कि मैंने उनके कमेंट से उन्होंने मुझे कहा कि आप मजदूरी कर रहे हो आजकल. अच्छा अब मुझे समझ में आई है पूरी बात. मैं भी बोलूँ इतनी लंबी क्यों इन्होंने मुझे एक्सप्लेनेशन दे दी है. तभी मैं उनको बोल रही थी कि आप क्या आप इतना ऑफेंड क्यों हो रहे हो. मैंने बोला था कौन सी आजकल मजदूरी कर रहे हो. वो तो मैंने ऐਵੇਂ ही बोला था अपने से. मैंने तो मासी जी वाला कमेंट ही नहीं देखा. अरे यार ओह मुझे पता नहीं था. मैं समझा कि मासी का पढ़ के हाँ मैंने नहीं पढ़ा वो कमेंट. अगर मैंने पढ़ा होता ना तो मैं उसका रिप्लाई कर देती उसी वक्त या फिर मैं ऐसे कर देती हूँ. हाय डियर इज मैं भी बोलूँ आपने मुझे इतनी लंबी एक्सप्लेनेशन क्यों दे दी है उस बारे में. हाय डियर फातिमा हियर इज ए गुड नेम. बहुत बातें करती हैं देखो नाम नहीं लिख रही हैं. हेलो डियर सना हियर इज योर्स. अच्छा मैंने नहीं देखा सच में लिटरली ऑनेस्टली मैंने नहीं देखा. हाय डियर विशु हियर इज योर्स. क्या बोला था आपने सिद्धा जी. आपने क्या बोला था जी. अमूल भाई बोलिए. हाय डियर जीन्स हियर इज योर. मेरा नाम इंशाल नहीं है इशाल है. ये स्पेलिंग है भाई मेरे नाम के गलत मत लो. ये हेलो डियर फैक्स डियर. Here is yours. Double tap on your screens. Come on. यहाँ पे मुझे 138 शो हो रहे हैं वहाँ पे मुझे 137 शो हो रहे हैं. ये क्या माजरा है. अब मुझे यहाँ 39 शो हो रहे हैं वहाँ पे मुझे 138 हो रहे हैं. ये क्या हो रहा है भाई. मेरी और ईशु जी की दिमाग की घंटी एक जैसी बजती है. शिवका जी आपने क्या बोला था मुझे बताएं जरा. Hi dear Sivanya, here is yours. आप कब आए जब मर्जी आए आप मोस्ट वेलकम आपका. Hello dear Huran, here is yours. Hello dear Isra, here is a good name. Your name is Ayan. Is your name is Inshal? I am Riza. Like and subscribe. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing, dear Riza. Here is a good name. Hi dear Kamil. Carmen, here is yours. Hi, dear Shrija. Here is your beautiful name. Hello, dear Chelsea. Here is yours. Okay, Inshal. Here is yours. Hello, dear Sardar. Here is a good name. ये मेरी लाइव पीछे चल रही है ये क्या हो रहा है एक मिनट रिफ्रेश करके आती हूँ डबल टैप ऑन योर स्क्रीन गाइस Aurora. Hello, dear Aurora. Here is yours. Okay, good to hear. Hi, dear Yasmina. Here is your beautiful name. शिवका जी आपने कमेंट तो नहीं किया कहीं मेरे से मिस ना हो गया हो हाँ ना शिवका जी भी तभी आते हैं वाह ये आपने बिल्कुल ठीक बात बोली है हाय डियर विघ्नेश नहीं शिवका जी एक दो दफ़ा पहले भी आए हैं बट मेरी ज़्यादा बात नहीं हो पाई उनसे हाय डियर आरहान here is a good name. Let's see who is next. Hi dear Ikra. Here is yours. Guys, don't forget to press the subscribe button. Hi dear Vindhya. Here is your beautiful name. Hello dear Femi. Here is yours. Hi dear. Don't write in caps, dear. It takes so much time to read the capital letters, so please don't write in caps. Hi dear Arabi. Here is yours. Hello dear Emilia. Here is a good name. Yusuf. Hi dear Yusuf. Here is a good name. Hello dear Zainab. How are you? Okay, thank you so much for joining everyone. Double tap on your screens and don't forget to press the subscribe button. Hi dear Binta. Here is a good name. Hi dear Rosie. Here is yours. Hello dear Munaza. It is a beautiful name. Hi dear Angel. Here is yours. Why not? Hello dear Hipsa. It is a beautiful name. Double tap on your screens. Come on, you have to complete 150 at least. Hello, dear Henry. Horrid Henry is one of my favorite cartoons. Mm-hmm. Afras, here is yours. दोबारा ढीले हो गया मासी जी कस दें. Hi, dear Myra. Here is your beautiful name. Hello, dear Ikhlaq. Here is yours. अमल भाई बेचारे कोई बात नहीं अभी अच्छे वो बहुत अच्छे हैं वो मान जाते हैं Hello dear Lily here is yours Amul bhai are you here Amul bhai Amul bhai oh you are from Turkey आपको पता है मैंने कुछ phrases सीखे हैं जैसे कि merhaba Niselsen imzalara hoş geldiniz and iyi günler and teşekkür ederim. Thank you so much. अच्छा अच्छा ठीक है. Hi dear Afras, here is yours. Hello dear Yuna, it is a good name. Hi dear Zubel, here is yours. Hi dear Tayyiba and Dua. अभी तक नहीं 50 हुए हमारे देख लो. डबल टैप ऑन योर स्क्रीन गाइस अगर आपका नाम लिखा जाता है तो प्लीज 2 दफा स्क्रीन के ऊपर ऐसे ऐसे करना है बस इतना सा काम है इतनी ज़्यादा मुझे नहीं आती है प्यारे इसीलिए I don't know this much. I only know which I tell you before. Ryan, I am not from Turkey. But teşekkür ederim. Hi dear Arushi, here is yours. Hello dear Jake. It is a good name. अभी तक सिर्फ एक किया है एक just one. Hello dear Medina, here is your good name. Don't forget to like and subscribe guys. Come on. Hello dear Aksa, here is your beautiful name. Hi dear Pihu. Here is yours. Simran. Hello dear Simran. Thank you so much for subscribing. Here is yours. Hello dear Mia. Here is yours. Hi dear Yuvan. Another Yuvan we have. Welcome. Here is your beautiful name. Hi dear Gracie. Here is yours. सिक्का जी नहीं लाइक नहीं कर रहे हैं मैं जा रही हूँ मुझे नहीं पता Hello dear Brandon बारिश हो रही है और जो मड की खुशबू आ रही है ना मिट्टी की मेरा तो दिल करा है जाके खा लूँ मिट्टी को मासी जी आप और आपके मन पकड़ हैं क्या पता नहीं क्या ही लिखा है अस्तगफिरुल्लाह Hi dear Jenny it is a beautiful name Hi dear Ananya Here is yours. Oh हाँ गुले गुले भी मुझे याद था. Gule Gule. Hello, dear Ayan. Here is a good name. Hi, dear Faiza. Here is yours. Hello, dear Shrey. Here is a good name. Hi, dear Kenny. Here is yours. Hi, dear Dinara. Here's a good name. Hi, welcome. How are you? Hi, dear Suba. Here is yours. Double tap on your screen. Come on, Stella. Why not, dear Stella? Here is a good name. Hi, dear Zaima. How are you? Here is yours. Hi, dear Lana. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Apsara. Here is yours. Let's see who is next. Hello, hi. Hi, dear Divya. Here is a good name. किस चीज़ की? Hi, dear Linda. Here is yours. Hayal. Hello, dear Hayal. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Kaylee. Here is yours. Thank you so much for subscribing, everyone. And don't forget to press the subscribe button. एक मिनट बाल बांध रहे हैं आंखों में आ रहे हैं बार बार मेरी आंखों में कुछ हो रहा है Hello, dear Satvika. Double tap on your screens. We have to complete 167. चलिए Hello, welcome back. Yeah, voice is coming. Tanur. Hello, dear Tanur. Here is a good name. Oh my god, thank you. It is yours. Thank you so much, dear. Hello, dear Riaz. Here is a good name. Hi, dear Moise. Here is yours. Hello, dear Mirisha. It is a beautiful name. Yes, बताएं मौजून भाई. I am here too. Hi dear Saren, here is yours. Thank you so much. Hi dear Hussein, here is a beautiful name. Hi dear Lies, here is yours. Hello dear Eva, here is a good name. Hi dear Amra, here is yours. Double tap on your screens. We have to complete 167. Come on, 7 more. Hi dear Reshma, here is yours. Lydia. Peanut. Okay, this is for you, dear. Thank you so much. Let's see who is next. Oh, Sukriya. Thank you. Hello, dear Zainab. Here is yours. Hi, dear Robia. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Maria. Here is yours. ¿Cómo estás? Gracias. Hi, dear Riva. Here is your beautiful name. Hello, dear Israfil. Here is yours. Thank you. You're most welcome. Hello, dear Diksha. Here is yours. Hi, dear Hanya. Here is a beautiful name. Let's see who is next. Hi, dear Janin. Here is yours. Guys, double tap on your screens. Hi, welcome. Hanshika. Thanks, dear Hanshika. Here is yours. Hi, dear Akil. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Sumaye. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining, dear. It is a beautiful name. Hi, dear Wahaj. Here is your beautiful name. Hello, dear Adina. Here is yours. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hi, dear Evelyn. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Sonia. Here is yours. Muslim Hai. Where is your feeder? Hello, dear Sonia. Here is yours. Guys, double tap on your screens. We are literally stuck on 164. Kralo baat. Hi, dear Maybe. Here is yours. Hi, dear Shuaib. Okay, you want a screenshot. I can write your username, dear Marietta. Come on, double tap on your screen. One more. Marietta. Here is yours. Hello, dear Eva. Here is a good name. Hi, dear Julia. Here is yours. Hello, dear Timur. Here is your beautiful name. Thank you so much for joining. Sant, let me check. Satvika. Thank you, dear Satvika. Thank you so much for subscribing. It is a beautiful name. And stream is lagging. Yay! Double tap on your screens and don't forget to like and subscribe, guys. Let's see who is next. Okay, CLEMENCE. Here is yours, but please don't read in capital letters, guys, because it takes so much time to understand the caps. समझ में नहीं आते मुझे कैपिटल लेटर्स, तो मत लिखा करो, ठीक है प्यारे बच्चों. Let's see who is next. You're most welcome. Thank you. Momina. Enjoy your meal, Mozum bhai. Bye bye. Take care. Hello, dear Ella. सबका जी आइसक्रीम खाएंगे? Here is yours. Thank you. Hi, dear Abiha. Here is a good name. Hi, dear Garvit. Here is yours. Okay. Shahnoza. Hello, dear Shahnoza. Here is जी सिप्का जी एकदम फ्री में लेके दूंगी आइसक्रीम. बताएं कौन सी वाला फ्लेवर खाएंगे. एक टाइम पे सारे मुझे जानते थे. ठीक है भाई, अभी भी हम आपको जानते हैं. कैसे हो? आपको पता है एबीडी भाई 2-3 दफ़ा आके आपके पूछ के गए थे जब मैंने उनको बताया था कि आप अभी भी उनका नाम अपने साथ लिखवा के जाते हो. अभी भी मैं तो आपको जानती हूँ, देखो अच्छे से, मैं नहीं भूली. Let's see who is next. Hello, dear Thelma. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Eduarda. Here is yours. Mirab and what was the second name? Mirab and Essen. Here is yours. Double tap on your screens. Come on, we have to complete 187. Bini. Oh, you're most welcome. Paula. Hello, dear Paula. Just wait for a minute. Dear Paula, welcome back. How are you? Hi, dear Adi. Here is yours. Oh, dear Elif. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Kiara Subgaji. Here is yours. Hi, dear Sama. Here is your beautiful name. Ella is back. Hey, dear Ella. Here is yours. Hi, dear Noor. It is a good name. Hi, dear Fatima. Here is your beautiful name. Hello, dear Ishan. Here is yours. Hi, dear Ayla. Here is your good name. Hi, dear Samira. Here is yours. Hello, dear Fizrauli. Fiza Rowley. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining. You have such a unique name, dear. Jaina. Hi, dear Jaina. Here is yours. Hello, dear Hania. Here is your good name. ओह सॉरी, ओह मैंने ना आपका मिस हो गया मुझे लगता है. सॉरी कोई बात नहीं. दोबारा कर दो. क्या लिखा था भाई? Hi, dear Gokas. Here is yours. Hello, dear Ariman. Here is a beautiful name. Hi, dear Faru. Why are you so sad? Here is a good name. Double tap on your screen, guys. We have to complete 187. Hi, dear Faru. Faru with capital F and now with small f. Hi, dear Carla. Here is a good name. Hi, dear Hilma. Here is yours. And don't forget to press the subscribe button, guys. Hi, dear Gulina Rose. Oh, एक मिनट हाँ जी मोहित आपका नाम मुझे पता है MTK इज बैक बोलते थे आप मुझे अच्छे से याद है भाई मैं कैसे भूल सकती हूँ आपको हमारे डेली के व्यूवर थे हमारे सब्सक्राइबर एक प्यारे से Here is a good name Payal Hi dear Payal here is a beautiful name Hello dear Ibra here is yours Hi dear Asya It is a beautiful name. Hi, dear Elif. Here is yours. Hello, dear Aga. Here is a beautiful name. Hi, dear Teresa. Here is yours. Emma. This is for your cutie pie sister. Hi, dear Rohan. Here is a beautiful name. Hi, dear Suk. Here is yours. Hello, dear Lena. Here is a beautiful name. Hi, dear Ariba. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining. Hi, dear Ayla. Here is a good name. Faylene. Hello, dear Faylene. Here is yours. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hi, dear Isa. It is a good name. Hi, dear Dua. Just give me 1 minute. Double tap on your screens. Hello, dear Dua. You're most welcome. Hi, dear Lindy. Here is yours. Hi, राधे श्याम जी मैं ठीक हूँ आप कैसे हैं Hi, dear Nazia. Here is yours. Hello, dear Aya. Here is a good name. Hi, dear Stellina. Here is yours. Double tap on your screen, guys. And Nurlan. Hi, dear Nurlan. Here is your beautiful name. Hey. Hello, dear Wahaj. Here is yours. Good to hear. Kanan. Hello, dear Kanan. It is a good name. Hi, dear Mariam. Here is yours. Thank you so much for subscribing. And let's see who is next. Babar. Hello, dear Babar. Here is yours. Hi, dear Ishal. It is a good name. Zahra. Hi, dear Zahra. Here is yours. Hello, dear Merva. Here is a beautiful name. Double tap on your screen, guys. Dube se. Hi, dear Tasneem. Here is a good name. Hello, dear Anu. Here is yours. Hi, dear Tahir. Here is a good name. Hello, dear Ata. Here is yours, Shalina. What a beautiful name you have, dear Shalina. Here is yours. Ayan is done, dear. Ayan is done twice. Hi, dear Blue. How are you? Hello, dear Mina. Here is your beautiful name. Hey, dear Evelyn. Here is yours. Hi, dear Ruth. Welcome back. How are you? Hello, dear Bhavik. Here is a good name. Double tap on your screens. Leah. Hi, dear Leah. Here is a beautiful name. Hi, dear Shifa. Here is yours. Hello, dear Kavya. It is a beautiful name. Hi, Bushra. Welcome back. After so many days, how are you? It is a beautiful name, dear Bushra. Thank you so much for joining again. Hi, dear Vian. Here is yours. Double tap on your screen and I'll be end this live stream after 5 minutes. So please don't forget to subscribe and then 7 8. Don't forget to press the bell icon to get the notification. Hi, dear Joshna. Here is your beautiful name. Hello, dear Pari. Here is yours. Radhe Shamji? No, Ananya. Ananya. Hello, dear Ananya. Here is yours. Hi, dear Camila. Here is a good name. Thank you so much, dear Bushra. So good to have you here again. Hello, dear Leah. Hi, dear Anuja. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Catalina. Here is yours. Hi, dear Jordan. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, welcome back. How are you doing, Safu? Here is yours. Hi, dear Sia. Here is a good name. I am good. How about you? Hello, dear Pakiza. Here is yours. Double tap on your screens. Thank you. You're most welcome. Hi, dear Aditya. Here is a good name. You are good. Good to hear. Hello, dear Manha. Here is yours. Hi, Elena. Hello, dear Elena. Here is your good name. Gulfam. Hi, dear Gulfam. Here is yours. Hi, dear Yasmin. My name is Ishal. It is a beautiful name. Hello, dear Jiva. Here is yours. Hi, dear Zainab. Oh, sorry. मुझे जैनब की स्पेलिंग ही भूल गए हैं यार. Zainab. Here is a beautiful name. Thank you so much for joining everyone. Double tap on your screens. Come on. अभी तक 200 हमारे हो जाने थे. मैंने जितने दफ़ा बोल दिया है. लेकिन हम वहाँ पे literally we are stuck on 187. Literally. Hi dear Elise. Here is yours. Hello dear Farhan. Here is a good name. Thank you so much for joining everyone. Sachit. Hi dear Sachit. Here is yours. Hi dear Mina. Here is your beautiful name. You're most welcome. What's a good name? Hello dear Islam. Here is yours. Sharvi. I am good. How about you? Hi, dear Sharvi. Here is a beautiful name. Hello, dear Shaheen. Here is yours. Don't forget to like and subscribe. E-signature, yes. Hi, dear Sad. Here is yours. My name is Ishal. I have told you before. Hi, dear Mubina. Here is a beautiful name. Hi, dear Dugu. Here is yours. Guys, we are going to end the stream in 2 minutes. So please double tap on your screens. Can you write your name for me? Okay, dear Safu. Menon. Not a problem. No problem. Here is yours. And okay. Okay. Let's see who is next. Hi, dear Sahara. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear. Um. Oh, it's okay. No problem at all, dear. Jannat. Here is yours. Thank you so much for joining. Hi, dear Sabrina. Here is your good name. You're most welcome, dear. Guys, double tap on your screen. We have to complete 200 at least. Come on. Come on. And friends. Hi, dear friends. Hello, dear Yash. Here is yours. You are from Brazil. Oh, good to hear. Hi, dear Mina. Here is a good name. Hello, dear Sabrina. Is done before, but here is yours again. I am good, dear Sophie. How are you? It is a beautiful name. Thank you so much for joining again. Love you, dear. Thank you. Hello, dear Mubina. Here is your beautiful name. You're most welcome. Hi, dear Sriya. Here is yours. Hello, dear. Okay, Garima. Hold on. This is for you. Here is yours. Your name is Manan. It's very cute. My name is Ishal, not Manan. Hi, dear Mealy. Here is yours. Manan is a boy name. And I am girl, as you can see. Hi, dear Camel. Here, Camola. Oh, God. So sorry. My mistake. Camola. Here is yours. Hello, dear Balin. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Sarah. Here is yours. Hello, dear Rima. Here is your beautiful name. Ghost TV. Welcome back. Thank you so much for subscribing, dear Ghost TV. Hi, dear Akisha. Here is your good name. Hello, dear Mansoor. Here is yours. Guys, double tap on your screens and don't forget to press the subscribe button. Okay, Doha. Hello, dear Doha. Here is your beautiful name. Hi, dear Sad. Here is yours. Spatter Boy. Ah, what is the meaning of this, dear Frieder? Okay, Miria. Hello, dear Miria. Here is yours. Okay, let's see who is next. Amna. Hi, dear Amna. Here is a beautiful name. Hi, dear Akib. Here is yours. Guys, don't forget to press the subscribe button there, and after you will press the subscribe button. Nah, what I am saying actually. Hi, dear ML. Don't forget to press the bell icon and then press all to get the notification. Yeah, why not, dear Sophie? My name is Ishal. Hi, dear Zad. Who is Baba? Is that Baba? Hey, dear cause. And now we are going to write our last name for this stream. Hi, dear Divesh. Here is yours. And our last name for this stream is Bakai. Here is a good name, dear. And last, thank you for subscribing. What is a good name? Ozzy. Ozzy was done before too, but it's okay. Here is yours again. As you know, we are going to end the stream and we're looking for the last name for this stream. Who's gonna be the last? Isra. And thank you so much for subscribing, everyone. Before the week happened, thank you so much for everything. Thank you for your precious time. And now it's time to end this stream. Love you all. Bye. Take care. Good night. See you tomorrow.